Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a playbook that is absolutely crucial if you're a business user or an analyst trying to use AI in a real, high-stakes professional setting. Today, we're graduating from those casual consumer apps to secure, enterprise-grade powerhouses like Spark Assist. This is a total game changer for how we work and, more importantly, how we lock down our proprietary corporate data.
Okay, so here's our flight plan. We're going to hit 5 quick stops. First, the Enterprise AI Engine. Then, speaking the AI's language. Third, the prompting framework. 4, calibrating for quality. And finally, those non-negotiable security guardrails. Let's jump right in.
Section 1.
The Enterprise AI Engine.
So, this playbook? It's purpose-built for you, business analysts and corporate professionals. We aren't just messing around trying to figure out which buttons to push anymore. We're establishing a highly intentional, structured, and totally secure approach to AI that perfectly aligns with strict enterprise standards.
Right out of the gate, we need to clear something up. A large language model, an LLM, is not a thinking machine. It really isn't. It's essentially autocomplete on steroids. Its whole job is mathematical text prediction. It just guesses the most likely next word based on patterns in its training data. It doesn't actually think, it doesn't store facts like a SQL database, and it has zero innate reasoning skills. Honestly, grasping that limitation, that is your very first step to actually mastering this tech.
Because of how these models learn, there's this massive divide in both capabilities and security between public tools built for the masses and our internal systems built for corporate workflows. The easiest way to picture it? It's the exact difference between catching a ride in a public car versus driving a heavily armored truck.
And that divide has some serious implications. With public retail AI, sure, you get a slick consumer experience, but your inputs might literally be used to train their public models. That's exactly why it is strictly prohibited for our work. On the flip side, Spark Assist is our armored truck. It takes a bit more deliberate engineering from us, but it guarantees that our proprietary data never, ever leaks out. For corporate work, using it isn't just a good idea, it is mandatory.
Moving right along to Section 2, Speaking the AI's Language.
Be honest. Have you ever typed a request into an AI and gotten back total garbage? Yeah, we all have. The root of that problem is the massive difference in how we communicate. When we talk to humans, we rely on implied meaning, emotional tone, shared workplace context, reading the room. But talking to an AI, it operates entirely on literal, explicitly written instructions. It has absolutely zero shared context unless you literally type it out for it.
So we really need a mindset shift here. Most of the time, errors aren't model failures. They are actually thinking failures on our part. It is so incredibly easy to blame the tool when things go wrong, but the reality is the AI is literally just holding up a mirror to the vague, unstructured instructions we fed it in the first place.
You've got to remember, generative AI does not replace your human judgment. Think of it as an amplifier. If you feed it weak, tangled thinking because it lacks structure, it'll just invent something to sound fluent, and you end up with amplified confusion. But if you feed it strong, structured thinking, like a neatly wound spool of thread, it becomes this incredible execution engine, delivering highly usable, precise results.
To really crush it as an analyst using this stuff, you have to ditch what we call the lazy prompt. That's where you essentially outsource the thinking to the machine and cross your fingers. Instead, you need to adopt the structured prompt. That means you, the human, decide the approach first, break the work down into logical steps, and define exactly what good looks like before you even type a single word.
All right, Section 3, the prompting framework. If you want high-precision output, you need to put on your manager hat and use this 3-step mental model. Step 1 is explore. Collaborate with the AI like it's a peer for some initial brainstorming. Step 2 is design. And hey, this is a human-only step. You step back and decide how to solve the problem. And finally, Step 3 is execute. This is where you act as a no-nonsense manager, writing highly specific instructions, telling the AI exactly how to assemble the solution you just designed.
Now, during that execute phase, you absolutely must use this checklist. We're talking about 6 mandatory variables: role, context, objective, format, tone, and constraints. Who is the AI acting as? What does success actually look like? What's the format? And listen, pay special attention to number 6, constraints. You have to tell the AI what it absolutely must avoid doing, because unstated assumptions are just uncontrolled risks waiting to happen. Also, when you're giving the AI context, it's really tempting to think more is better. But you have to be super careful to filter for signal over noise. Telling it to act as a compliance auditor is great, but adding irrelevant corporate backstory or generic fluff like, "You are a genius consultant," actually degrades the AI's reasoning. Seriously, keep it strictly to the decision-relevant facts.
Section 4. Calibrating for quality.
So there's this huge trap that so many analysts fall into, the dump and pray workflow. This is where you just copy-paste a massive report into the chat and say, "Give me insights." Please don't do that. It puts way too much cognitive load on the AI and guarantees vague, hallucinated junk. Instead, you have to use the decompose workflow. Extract your metrics first, then compare them, then build the narrative step by step. Break it down.
Achieving that kind of precision requires you to actively loop through these 4 steps. First, you ask. Then, you observe and validate the output. Next, you refine your instructions. And finally, you rerun it.
And I want to be super clear on this. This calibration loop, it is not a waste of your time. It's not some inefficiency you need to optimize away. It is the necessary, fully expected work required to figure out exactly where the AI misunderstood you so you can inject clarity and get true professional-grade results.
Which brings us to arguably the most dangerous trap in generative AI, the fluency trap. Look, a terrible draft with obvious errors is super easy to spot, but the hidden danger is blindly accepting a beautifully written, highly confident document that secretly contains factual errors. Why does that happen? Because the AI mathematically optimizes for sounding fluent, not for being right. Fluency does not equal fact. Your human judgment has to step in to challenge those underlying assumptions.
And lastly, Section 5, non-negotiable security guardrails.
We live by this data sensitivity matrix. Green zone data, like generic templates, is totally fine for Spark Assist. Yellow zone data, like internal summaries, is approved, but only with heavy human verification. But the red zone? That requires absolute strictness. We're talking final rating decisions, material non-public information, or unpublished client data. Red zone data must never, ever be fed into the AI. Period. No exceptions.
Of our 4 operational guardrails, rule number 4 is hands down the most important. You are accountable. If something goes wrong, the AI doesn't take the blame. You are the final accountable owner and approver of every single piece of output. Always fact-check, treat everything as an unverified first draft, and if you are ever in doubt, just don't input the data.
I'm going to leave you with this final, powerful thought to take away from our explainer today. Generative AI does not replace human judgment. It amplifies the quality of the thinking we feed into it. Simply put, the machine does the typing, but you do the thinking. So the real question is, are you ready to elevate the quality of your inputs using these frameworks starting right now? Thanks so much for tuning in and happy prompting.